Today we're going to take a look on the inside of the extremely popular brand new Ninja Luxe Cafe espresso machine. A lot of people have been asking the question, what's inside there? Is it a thermoblock? Is it a boiler? And what else is there to see inside? And I was curious myself, so I thought I should open it up and have a look inside. With all that being said, as a disclaimer, I do want to mention it was quite a pain in the butt to figure out how to get it apart. It took me quite a while. I had to buy some new tools as well, like this, a really long bit here to get down into the bottom for a couple of screws, as well as a pen light to see what I was doing, and a couple of other things as well. So what I'm going to do today in this video is just give a brief overview of how I got it apart, the lid, the upper case, and the bottom footer. And then we're going to take a look inside and see what is it, thermoblock, boiler, what's all in there, are there solenoids? And then I'm going to try to go through the water paths. Another thing is, as part of the disclaimer, I don't recommend that you do this because you will likely void your warranty, and you are responsible yourself for your own safety and for the correct functioning of your machine. But how I did it was, of course, I unplugged it, waited for it to cool down and everything. And then there are two screws in the back here on top of the lid, and they look like this. They are the Torx T10 type, if you can see that. So that is a very small Torx with a little tab in the middle, essentially. And so in order to get the lid off, you have to remove two of those. Then I was not quite exactly sure how to get the lid off. Otherwise, I bought a prying kit from iFixit, and that did not really do anything for me. Eventually, I figured out through trial and error that you just have to pull it backwards from the top, and then it will lift off. It's got these tabs on the inside, and those tabs are what hold it here inside of some holes on top of the chassis to keep it in place. So now with the lid removed, you can already see quite a bit. You can see, for example, that we got a thermoblock in there. It is, in this case, a 1600 watt, 120 volt thermoblock for the North American market. But you don't have much access inside there. If you wanted to fix anything or really get a good idea of what the water paths are, you got to keep going. So there's quite a few holes on top here. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there's like 7 or so. There's also a couple of hidden ones here in the corner that I found, but I still was not able to remove the top case. I did find out there's 2 more hidden ones here by the grinder, but that's actually still pretty easy to access. You just gotta pop these little rubber pieces out, and then you can access the screws underneath. Even with all that being the case, I still had a tough time trying to pop this part off. It was not coming. And the reason was because here in the corner, there's 2 more screws that were holding this on. I really thought it was clips, but it wasn't clips. There's 2 screws from the bottom, and they come from all the way at the bottom, all the way up to here. So that is the reason that I needed this really long screw bit to be able to, this is Phillips by the way, to be able to get up under there and remove 2 more screws. So that's what that looks like. I did buy this, by the way. That's an iFixit kit, and it's got these Torx security bits in there. But anyhow, what I had to do in order to access those 2 screws from the bottom was remove the entire bottom footer. That was another 13 screws on the bottom. And then finally, I found these here, in which the other screws were hidden. And as you can see, that screwdriver bit goes down there really, really deeply. I did also, of course, remove a ground wire. And there were a couple other small things to take off the chassis. And now the rest is revealed.
Getting value from this video? Please take a moment to like and subscribe.
The first thing that you see right away is this stuff here. And what is this? This is it's almost like a pillow inside. It's a heat cushion, essentially. It's got this silver lining on the front, and that wraps around the thermoblock to block off the heat here from the front panel of the machine. Now let's take a look on the inside of the machine. Okay, so looking inside, the first thing that we see here is the Thermoblock, which is intelligently located right above the brew group. The brew group is underneath there. Basically, it's hard to see, but that's a Thermoblock right there, and it's a different form than I've seen before. You can see here that the lines are stainless steel. So that's the Thermoblock. You do also see 3 solenoid valves. Right here is one, they're blue. Here is one, and here is one as well. This is the water sensor right there. This pipe I had to disconnect here from the bottom of the top case. This is where the water enters the machine. Another thing to mention, by the way, that I like is they got the control unit, and it looks like other electronics here boxed up into this white case here. So that's nice that that is shielded from the rest. Here is the grinder. By the way, you can see that it's on these gears here, and the gears are on this box. I'm guessing that's what is acting as the encoder right there. So that's quite interesting. So roughly, that's what you got there. Now let's just have a look and try to figure out how the water paths work. All right, so if we try to figure out the water paths, this is where the water comes into the machine. And it does go down here. I can't see all too well. See if my pen light helps us where it goes, but I'm guessing that it goes to probably a water flow meter. Then it goes here to this Alka pump. So the machine does use an Alka pump like most machines do, and it exits the pump right here. So this is the overpressure valve. You will see going off left with the silicone hose, it goes down here to the bottom of this holder. I don't know exactly what it is, but you can see there's a sensor there. So I'm guessing it's monitoring probably the pressure here, and then from that sensor it goes up and exits here into what I think is a manifold. Okay, but if we come back here to the overpressure valve, what it does then is the pressure, or the water that's pressurized correctly at the 9 bar is going to go up here along this braided line, and it enters the heater, the Thermoblock in this case. It's going to go around in a few coils and exit right here. You can see the arrow pointing down here, and what it does is it enters right here into this fitting. So this right here is a 3-way solenoid because you've got 1, 2, 3 points which will be switched. So if it comes to this point, what's going to either happen is the path is going to go here to the left, that is for brewing espresso, or it's going to go down to the bottom, which goes off to the next solenoid, and that would be for the steam wand. But let's do the brew process first. So if it goes here to the left, it's going to enter over here, and as I think it's going to go off then this way into the brew group. Now what I think that this 2-way solenoid does, you can see there's nothing here on the top side to be switched, just over here. So what I think is happening is that when the water is pressurized and going here into the brew group, that after the shot, this path will be opened up so that the pressure can get released. You see here the silicone hose here. The silicone hose here goes into the manifold as well on spot 2. Okay, so if we look then what this solenoid seems to be doing, this is for the steam wand, so you're getting the pressurized water here, and I think what's happening is that this is just opening up a path here to the left so that it can go here along this braided line to the steam wand. So the steam wand here is, I'll just move it. That's a mechanical operation there, and you can hear the switch on there so that the controller knows when the steam wand is in the upper or lower position. Then there's also a silicone hose here that comes off of the steam wand and goes down directly, actually all the way down into the bottom, and should get released down into the drip tray. And finally, with this 3-way solenoid right here, what you've got here going to the top is another silicone hose that goes as the 3rd position on this manifold. So I believe that's also a pressure relief. All right, what else do we see in there? I think I mentioned everything that I understand so far, and I think that it's correct. I'm not 100% sure. You guys can let me know what you think. Anyhow, water sensor, solenoid valves here. These solenoids, by the way, are Jianying Jiayin, some kind of, I believe, Chinese brand. I never heard of them before. So anyway, solenoids are kind of expensive. And there's various micro switches inside. What I do appreciate is you can see all of this grounding wire here. So all of this yellow and green striped wiring, that's all for grounding. What I was expecting to see is, because this machine says that it does have temperature and pressure regulation, I was expecting to see a thermal probe here somewhere, probably on the exit here of the Thermoblock. But I don't see a thermal probe anywhere on here. And I do have the feeling that they probably have it here hidden in the brew group underneath. That would be probably under here somewhere. That would be my best guess, because actually the Thermoblock itself is not a good place to put a probe. It just has too much hysteresis. So I'm guessing that their probe is somewhere else. Maybe it's this here even. It could be that these two wires have something to do with the thermal probe. Not 100% sure where it is, but I don't want to take this apart any more than it already is. And that is it for now. He's way back. Okay, so final thoughts on this teardown. It was not easy to do, and I wouldn't really recommend doing it unless you need to fix something, but I do hope that this video is going to help some of you guys who might need to fix something inside, whether that's on the grinder or on the Thermoblock itself or one of the solenoids, to help you to be able to get into the machine. So with that being said, another thing that comes to mind is other machines that are like pretty complicated as well, that offer a lot of functionality like this one does, and machines like the Barista Express come to mind. It's not that easy really to open up any of these kind of machines. There's a lot going on inside, and that's just kind of a part of having such an automated machine. But anyway, I hope the video is helpful for you. If so, give it a like. If you thought it was terrible, give it a dislike, whatever the case. Thanks for being with me, and until next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.